Hey everyone, it's the Joker back to you today with another video, and today I wanted to take the time to talk about the fact that I really wish and do believe that Eminem should have released his Eminem Show album on exactly February 16 in the year 2002, but still the same year he released that album of his, and even at the same age that he was at when he released that rap album of his, which was 29 years old, but instead of releasing it when he actually did, which was on May 26 in the year of 2002, I myself, personally, in my opinion, would have much rather preferred it if he would have released it on February 16 in the year of 2002. But that's not the only thing that I really do wish and do strongly believe that should have been different about Eminem's Eminem Show album. I also really wish and do strongly believe that he should have had or included more songs on that album of his, as well as, and of course, a deluxe edition to go along with that album of his, which would have been extremely thoughtful, considerate, and generous of him to have done when he even first originally released that album of his. I mean, either way, but I mean, again, I would have preferred that he would have released the album of his on February 16 in the year of 2002 or early 2002 instead of like around like the almost like middle of the year 2002, since I mean, he released it in late May of 2002 and pretty much almost like in the middle of that year in June of 2002 would have obviously been the middle of the year 2002, just like it is of any year, because that's halfway to like the end of the year or the other half of the year, since there's 12 months in a year. And so by the time you are in June, you're already like halfway done or halfway through a year. But anyways, continuing on with this video, so yeah, like I definitely wish and do believe that Eminem should have had included more songs on his Eminem Show album than he actually did, which is really unfortunate. And obviously, and of course, like I said earlier just a little while ago, released a deluxe edition to go along with his Eminem Show album, so that way he could have released more songs or extra songs on a deluxe edition of his Eminem Show album, including like 4 more. So if he would have had, say, around 16 songs, like 16 tracks worth of actual rap songs on his Eminem Show album, what he actually did have was 15, which is kind of interesting knowing that his previous 2 albums, his Marshall Mathers LP album and his Slim Shady LP albums, only had 14 tracks worth of actual rap songs. But what is very interesting about his Eminem Show album is the fact that he actually had 1 extra song more than he did on his previous 2 albums. And obviously that's not that big or much of a difference, but it still is a difference. It's just a little difference because it's still 1 extra song. So on his Eminem Show album, he had 15 tracks worth of actual songs and like 4 skits, I think it was, to bring that album of his to a total of like 20 tracks. But his Marshall Mathers LP album and Slim Shady LP album only had 14 tracks worth of actual rap songs, and his Slim Shady LP album had 6 skits, which was really overdoing it with the amount of skits he especially had on that album of his, when he really honestly only should have had 4, and that should have been like the maximum amount and limit that he should have had as far as skits would have gone on that album of his. And on his Marshall Mathers LP album, he had 4 skits, but he only had 14 tracks worth of actual rap songs, just like he did on his Slim Shady LP album. But then when he released his Eminem Show album, which was his 3rd album, But if you count his Infinite album, it was his fourth. But as far as like rap album goes, rap albums go, when Eminem was a famous rapper that he released, it was just his third. And he had 15 rap songs on that album of his. But in my opinion and point of view, I wish and do believe that he should have had one more or one extra song on that album of his, so that he would have had at least and at the very minimum 16 tracks worth of actual rap songs. And what song would have, if anything, fit just perfectly on his Eminem Show album? Well, I would say his left out scrapped Eminem Show song, Stimulate, which literally is one of the greatest and best rap songs that Eminem has himself has ever like made, recorded, and not officially released, but he did eventually, when he released the expanded edition of his Eminem Show album just last year, he did actually officially release that song on the expanded edition of his Eminem Show album. But when he first originally released it, it was one of the like left out or scrapped songs. But I mean, at least it wasn't unreleased. You can, I mean, even back in 2002, you could still hear that song, you know, even though YouTube didn't exist. Like, I think if you bought the Cleaning Out My Closet single, or maybe it was the Business single or something, you could actually listen to that song. It was either only included on the Business single off of his Eminem Show album, or Cleaning Out My Closet single. So either way, even back when he first released the album of his, you could at least still hear it. And when YouTube eventually came along in like 2005 and so on and so forth, you were able to listen to that song on YouTube. But it was a left out, scrapped song from his Eminem Show album, unfortunately. And it's pretty heartbreaking because, honestly, that song not only would have fit just so very perfectly on that album of his if he would have went through with actually officially releasing it on that album of his, which he definitely, without a doubt, should have, but it would have been a perfect and great outro song and track on his Eminem Show album. And I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that. I mean, seriously, if he would have put his left out, scrapped Eminem Show album song, Stimulate, on his Eminem Show album, even when he first originally released that album of his way back in 2002, that would have literally been just such a great and perfect ending song or track or outro rap song or track, if you will, on that album of his. And I can only wish that he would have done that. And I hate the fact that he didn't. It pisses me off. It really does. And none of you can begin to, know or understand just how furious I feel because of that. And, the way I see it, he just completely and totally missed out on that chance and opportunity to do so. He did. And none of you can, convince or tell me otherwise. None of you can change my mind on that fact that I, myself, strongly believe, regardless if any of you agree with me on that or not. Because if you don't, you're an idiot. And you're stupid. And you're fucking retard and a moron and a just all-around fool if you don't agree with me. And if you don't, I honestly don't know why the fucking hell you're here and wasting your time bothering to even watch this video of mine if you don't even agree with me. And if you can't even at least respect my opinion and my belief system when it comes to this specific thing or topic. But anyways, I also, of course, and obviously wish, like I said earlier in this video more than once, that Eminem would have made and released a deluxe edition to go along with his Eminem Show album. And on a deluxe edition of his Eminem Show album if he would have made and released one. Like, I really wish and do strongly believe he should have, and he really missed it out on that chance and opportunity to do so, especially with his Marshall Mathers LP and Slim Shady LP albums also. But I would have wanted him to release 4 extra or additional rap songs, and, you know, have them be, you know, rap songs that were maybe like unreleased Eminem Show rap songs that didn't make the like standard edition cut of that album of his, that he could have at least put on a deluxe edition of his Eminem Show album. And he could have also had a slightly different cover for a deluxe edition of his Eminem Show album, which would have been really fucking badass and dope and cool and just awesome. Just absolutely awesome and amazing. And it's just really unfortunate that Eminem himself just missed out on that chance and opportunity to have made and released a deluxe edition of his Eminem Show album, one of his greatest rap albums that he has ever released in his entire rap career. When he was young and in his 20s, only 29 years old, when he released that shit, originally way back in 2002. A long time ago. And I mean, it would have just been a dream come true if he would have made and released a deluxe edition of that album of his, at least having and including songs that were like unreleased from that time period or era, if you will, or like unreleased Eminem Show albums that did not make the final cut, that he could have at least put on a deluxe edition of his Eminem Show album, which he definitely should have, and it pisses me the fuck off that he didn't. And it just literally does make me furious as hell. It just makes me outraged. Like, seriously. No lie. And, you know, I just hate the fact that, you know, he didn't do, like, more like he could have, or at least that I feel like he could have. He didn't. And I personally feel like there's no real reason why he couldn't have done so. With his Eminem Show album, Marshall Mathers LP album, and Slim Shady LP album. I just feel like there's no really actual reason why he couldn't have, you know, released those albums of his earlier, as well as limited the amount of skits that he had on his Slim Shady LP album especially, and also included more songs on his Slim Shady LP album, Marshall Mathers LP album, and Eminem Show album, as well as release a deluxe edition for each of those 3 albums of his, especially considering the fact that those 3 albums of his are like regarded as his best and greatest work. And I couldn't agree more. Like, those 3 rap albums of his were just perfection at its finest. And they're just regarded as just Eminem's best and greatest and just most amazing, awesome, incredible, outstanding, fantastic projects that he himself as a famous rapper ever like released or put out to the public. And so it would have only made logical sense in that case for Eminem to have, wanted to give his fans and especially stans a little bit more, a little bit extra by releasing deluxe editions to go along with those 3 albums of his. You know, whether he would have made and released deluxe editions for those 3 albums when they first originally came out, as I personally wish he would have done, or at least say on the 10th year anniversary of those albums of his. I mean, that would have been better than nothing. But he didn't even do that, which is just really fucking annoying on his part. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say really in today's video. Let me know what you all think in the comments section down below. I'm out.